Hello and welcome. My name's Alex. My cat's name is Jeb. You can call me Jeb. He's usually in my lap while I play and record, so why not? Welcome to my playthrough of All the Mods 9. Today we're getting started on GregTech. I thought this would be a good time to bring you in. I plan on making the Greg Star. I've just completed the Mechanism Fusion Reactor. You can see in my quests here I haven't really finished anything, any of the chapters. I think the closest I'm to is finishing the tips and tricks. And let's go ahead and go through the base. So we're looking at where I started. As soon as I finished killing a warden, I came to the mining dimension and I started setting up bees. I have mini bees like the pink slimy bee. Most of these have at least one omega upgrade, so we're not very far in yet. Some have multiple, like the radioactive bee. If we come over here, my draconic bees, I've got 20 of them fully upgraded with omega upgrades. This is my just compact set of wannabes and regular bees. So you need honeycomb. I've got wannabes farming things like vindicators, evokers, the wither, blazes, and this one is farming the trader llama because I figure I needed leather. Over here is just a wall of storage, getting things like nether stars, emeralds, diamonds, the usual, and a bunch of hopper botany pots. Just gathering us some basics that we don't really need that much of. At least not yet. I made a little compact setup to get us HDPE sheets. One challenge I had early on, so you may be wondering, where are the mob farms? The only mob farms I have are wannabes. I decided to challenge myself this playthrough and not spawn mobs, not have any entities kind of running around. I may make an exception for the Drigme, we will see. But one of my early challenges was eggs. If I have no chickens, how do I make eggs? And the way I decided to go about eggs is actually with alchemistry. 3 nautilus shells, 4 pieces of leather, dissolved and recombined, can make 6 eggs. We've got a quantum ring. This actually connects to where I've started moving. So if we fall down this massive hole, one of the first things I made was a builder. In that builder, I then quarried out a 5 chunk by 5 chunk area to make space for applied energistics and future base work. So we've got my main controller here. It's just a 7 by 7 cube covered in point-to-point or P2P tunnels. Not using too many of these yet, just made 32 of them and did a little 3 by 3 subnet to carry those networks around. We come down to the bottom, 32 channels are dedicated to molecular assemblers and pattern providers. 32 will eventually be dedicated to crafting CPUs and storage units, but currently there's just 8 here. I've got 2 quantum rings down here. You saw one upstairs. The other one is for my wireless terminal. So I've got one quantum entangled singularity in here. I'm using the wireless transmission library, or wireless terminal library, with the quantum bridge card. So far, I really haven't done a whole lot. I've focused on making bees for resource generation, and I did a little bit of mechanism. I made a fusion reactor and a fission reactor. So we've got the fission reactor right here. This guy is a 15 by 15 by 18 tall. And I've got a couple of things, all around. This place is very loud. Sorry. Let's get away from that. Uh, Maybe I'll install some muffler upgrades. But, we're making the uranium hexafluoride, we're making sulfuric acid, turning it into hydrofluoric acid, mixing the two to get, and centrifuging it to get fissile fuel. I tried to make this in a way I could expand easily when I need to. Then the fission reactor, slowly filling up with fissile fuel. Burning that, I've just been manually toggling the redstone detection for the centrifuge or the solar neutron activators, depending on if I want plutonium or polonium. And you'll notice off here, in this corner, we have 5 thermal evaporation plants filled with water to make us brine. These guys just have eternal water blocks to feed them water. These things are super handy. They just push the maximum transfer limit of water on every face. All of these guys make brine. They feed this tower, or this plant, to make lithium. That lithium comes out to rotary condensators to decondense it from liquid to gas. The gas goes into my solar neutron activators to make tritium. Over here we have 70 mechanical pumps, or electrical pumps, with filter cards, so they all get heavy water. Heavy water goes into the electrolytic separator to make deuterium, and the oxygen I just dump. Then we have the 2 chemical infusers to take that tritium and deuterium and turn it into DT fuel for my fusion reactor. And you can see the fusion reactor doesn't do anything really, it just makes power. Produces about 200 million FE a tick. And I just have a flux plug to receive that power. Flying back up to the top. It's the reason why I love the mining dimension. I'm going to have so much room to work with here. You can see my previous setup was using thermogenerators. Underneath all of these is soul lava. And this is just being fed from a sink with a no upgrade fluid pipe from pipes. It's more than enough to keep up with all of these. None of these are running out of water anytime soon. So that's the base as it is so far. But yeah, let's get into GregTech. I figure we've got the power. It's time to begin. GregTech's going to let us progress closer to the All the Mod Star as well as the Greg Star. My ultimate goal. So the first thing I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to make a hammer. Figure we can use iron. Maybe we use wrought iron. If we take a look at the quest, it does say first quest is bronze plating. to make bronze plates, or plates in general, with a hammer and 2 ingots. So I'm going to teach my AE2 system how to make a hammer. Then I'm going to teach it how to use that hammer and 2 ingots to make a bronze plate. I'll drag in the iron hammer specifically that we just created a pattern for, and I want to make sure substitutions enabled is set. That way it can use the iron hammer regardless of its durability value. And I'll put this in my molecular assemblers. Let's go ahead and craft a hammer. I happen to know this is a quest. And let's make a bronze plate. We already have the recipe for making bronze. It's just some tin and some copper. We can use the ingot recipe here from Railcraft. And just like that, we have begun the steam age. The next thing for us to do is to get a steam boiler. We can go high pressure or low pressure. We can go with solids or liquids. Liquids would be burning things like lava. Solids would be burning things like coal. I've got a lot of coal. I have coal bees. So I'm going to use a solid boiler rather than a liquid boiler. I could go to the nether, set up a create hose pulley and get infinite lava, but I'm not interested in that. So I'm just going to use the coal I already have. So let's go ahead and bookmark this. And I'm just going to go through all the patterns to make this, and I'll be back in a jiffy. Alright, we've got most of our patterns set already. Recipes are good to go to make the solid boiler. I also went ahead and crafted a wrench, put it in my inventory, because I know the getting started quests kind of go through the tools. So we've got a wrench. We'll also need to make a file. We'll make an iron file. We also need to make a saw. We'll make an iron saw. After that, there's every single type of tool. There are a lot of tools. We'll go ahead and craft all of them that we can. Ones that are going to be the most handy for us will be wire cutters, as well as the soft mallet. Crowbar will come in some use. But really just doing this for the quest. The rubber plunger we cannot craft yet. We have no way of making rubber. Butchery knives come with looting 3 inherently on them already. Easy way to get looting early on. You just take a book, make one of these, an anvil, and a block of obsidian, throw the book and this guy on top, drop the anvil, voila, you've got looting 3. Alright, I've gone ahead and crafted all the tools I can. The only one I can't right now is the rubber plunger, and that's because we do not have rubber sheets. So yeah, the only tool we're missing is the plunger. I've gone ahead and accepted all the checkmark quests I can. Some of these, they just auto-complete when you get the ores, or visit the various dimensions. But let's go ahead and order our steam boiler. So I don't need any of this stuff in my inventory. I will keep the wrench on me, and I think I'll keep a soft mallet. The wrench is great for rotating blocks. Soft mallet, you can pause or resume a block from crafting. So let's go ahead and craft this guy. Crafts up easy peasy. That's our next quest. And we're going to get a little coal. And we're going to need water for this. To get started here, I suppose we're going to need some cabling. And let's put ourselves in a corner. Because why not? We can start right over here and just expand from there. Grab a channel that I haven't used yet. So I think I've grabbed all of these interior P2Ps. So let's keep working on green here. And let's grab this one. We will link it and paste it onto this. I don't want to use this anywhere else, so I'll clear it. And there we go. We've got 32 channels we can work with here. What we'll do is we'll actually not set this all up with AE2 yet. Main reason being, we don't really need to. Right? This is the Steam age. Things are going to be slow. I don't need to automate it just yet. I can manual craft. As such, let's make ourselves a sink. Get some fluid pipes going. You want to make sure you fill this guy with water before you start putting coal in. Main idea is if you put cold water into a hot boiler, the boiler will explode. Let's say we don't like the sound of that guy running. If I grab out the hammer, I can whack it, and that mutes it. I personally find the sounds of these to be quite nice. They had a little bit of ambiance. Whereas compared to like mechanism machines, they just sound, I don't know, cacophonous. These guys sound pretty nice. To me, anyway. Alright, now we gotta transport this steam. This guy, he's gotta build up heat before he can boil water into steam. So we won't see any steam in here for a moment. But while we're waiting on that, we can go ahead and get the pipes going. We're going to use, since this boiler can produce 15 liters a tick, a liter, same thing as a millibucket, and this transfers 40 millibuckets a tick, or 20 millibuckets a tick. I think I'll go with small. And you may notice I've put all of these like plates and rods, bolts and screw recipes just up here where it's easy for me to access them later. I do plan on replacing them, because GregTech, while these are all manual crafts right now, will give us a way to make these in machines. And I'll put pipes up here too. Let's make, I don't know, 12 for now. Now we have access to our steam machines. These are the low pressure variants. Low pressure means it's going to take twice as long to process any recipe as what's stated in JEI, and it can process only recipes up to low voltage, or LV. So if it says ultra low voltage or ULV, we can use it. If it's a recipe that says it's low voltage or just LV, we can do it. The forge hammer gives us a way to make rods and make them into long rods, or make plates out of our ingots. I'm not going to bother with this because we have plenty of materials right now. The steam furnace is just another kind of furnace. Uses steam. We've got an unobtainium one already. I'm not going to bother with it. And the rock crusher, if I put lava on one side, water on another, we can make stone. We could also make cobblestone. We won't bother with it. These guys are all optional quests, so we're going to leave them off for now. We're going to focus on the macerator. We're going to focus on the compressor, the extractor, and the alloy smelter. Alright, just a second later and we've already got our alloy smelter, our macerator, our compressor, and our extractor. Let's go ahead and hook these up. So when you place pipes, you'll notice they don't automatically connect. I placed 2 pipes. You'll also see there's this little GUI. If I use the GUI, I can make the pipes connect, but this is another use of the wrench. So with the wrench, I can connect pipes. I can also disconnect pipes. So I'll connect my bronze fluid pipe to my steam boiler, which is now producing steam. And I can also, as I place these, plan ahead a little bit and say I want a machine right here, I want a machine over here. Actually, I don't want that one. I'll just put these 4 machines next to each other. Let's go ahead and place our machines. So now we've got a macerator, an alloy smelter, a compressor, and an extractor. And they're slowly gaining steam. The first one, these guys won't work by round robining. It's just going to feed the steam along, give it to the first one that needs it. If you crouch and right click with your wrench, you can actually do what's called shuttering. Shuttering a GregTech pipe will prevent the fluid from flowing backwards. That's right, steam is a fluid. I know it's a gas, but it's also a fluid. What I mean by that is a fluid is anything that fills a volume, really. Anything that spreads out to fill a volume. Kind of like a gas, like a liquid. It's a fluid. GregTech has gases, has fluids. Gases are not special in any way compared to mechanism. Mechanism has chemicals, which is a completely separate system. So my steam machines, when they're running, if I disconnect this real quick, you'll see there's a little vent on the back. Every steam machine, it's going to use some steam to process whatever recipe it's running. And that recipe, I need to, after it's done processing the recipe, that steam's cooled a little bit, it's no longer really usable, and it needs to be vented. However, I cannot vent it because I have a fluid pipe in the way. So what I'm going to do is if I just right-click the top of these machines, I can move their vent to the top. So now it's going to be able to vent straight out of the top. Alright. First thing the quest wants us to do, well, I guess let's collect our rewards. I was lucky. Bit of sticky resin. Is make wood pulp. Macerating wood logs will give us this wood dust. I've got dark oak, so I'm going to stick, let's put 16 in for now. Some dark oak logs, and there it goes. It takes 15 seconds, and it's going to make us some wood dust. And there it goes, it just vented. If we look at JEI, we can see in the macerator one of these pages. Unfortunately, you can macerate pretty much anything. We'll have logs. And it says it'll only take 7.5 seconds. This will take 15 because it's a low pressure steam machine. Alright, great. Steam machines, not smart enough to auto-output their items. We could pull items out of it and use like item pipes or AE2, importers and exporters, or interfaces, but we won't be getting into that. The next thing on our list is to compress this wood, this pulp, into sheets. We do that by sticking it straight into the compressor. Normally this will only take 10 seconds at high pressure or 10 seconds at low voltage, but these guys are low pressure. And we get ourselves the wood plank. Now we need some raw rubber pulp. All parts of the rubber tree can be extracted into raw rubber pulp, so we could make a tree farm for rubber wood. Or slime balls. I've got slimy bees. Might as well use some slime balls. So I'm going to take my slime balls, and we'll just give it half a stack. And these guys are all able to run and keep up with the steam this guy produces, because you see it's using 1 EU a tick. But in this case it's steam, so it's using, I believe, just a millibucket of steam. And there's some raw rubber pulp for us. Yeah, slime farm. We could farm rubber trees, or slime balls we can smelt directly to get sticky resin. I've already set that up, so I can order sticky resin and slime balls will be smelted. Now let's make some rubber. Sulfur ore, it isn't in the nether anymore. At least, not the GregTech version. The GregTech version is only in the mining dimension. which is where we are. And there are bees. We have a bee for that. So we're going to take that raw rubber pulp, some sulfur dust, stick it in our alloy smelter, and get some rubber going. We do not have any sulfur dust. Huh. That would be because Mechanism is making sulfuric acid. I'm just going to steal a stack. Eventually this will cap and stop running, so I'm not worried about making it stop yet. So, sulfur dust, raw rubber pulp, stick those in a steam alloy smelter together. Let's get ourselves some rubber. Our first rubber ingot. And we get some more rubber and some more sulfur. Now we need to make rubber sheets. To do that, we'll need a casting mold for plates, which is just some steel plates. Easy enough. And then we make our plate mold. This guy's gonna keep making us... I don't want hemlib sulfur dust, so... I'm gonna put the chemlib sulfur dust through here. I don't want that in my system consuming a type. You'll notice the steam alloy smelter uses more steam. This is using 3 millibuckets a tick. At least I think it's 3. It says in the tooltip anyway. One of the curiosities of GregTech is that it consumes the input items and then it starts processing the recipe. So like if I put 2 of these in here, it's gone to make the rubber sheet before the rubber sheet pops out. I think every other machine I've come across keeps the input items, progresses the recipe, and when it's done processing the recipe, it takes the input items. You'll see also the casting mold doesn't get used in this process. It's part of the recipe, but it is not consumed. And we can see that right here. And there's a little NC in the corner, and we can also see in the tooltip it's not consumed. Alright, rubber sheets. Gives us some more rubber ingots. Very nice. We'll keep making rubber here. Up next, we need to make glass tubes. That's another casting mold. Let's make one of those. And this time we're making a ball mold. Now the glass tube, we need to make glass dust and stick that through an alloy smelter with this. Glass dust is pretty easy for us to make. We just take regular glass, which I have somewhere, presumably. If I can find it, there it is. Let's make some of that. And we just macerate it. Macerate, just another word for break, really. This really uses a lot of steam. 8 millibuckets a tick. Remember, this guy only produces 15. And there's our first glass tube. Gives us some more glass dust, that's nice. Next up, we need to start making our circuit components. And with that, we're almost done with steam. So we're going to make a resin circuit board. We're going to make resistors. And we're going to make vacuum tubes. And we need to make the resin printed circuit board. So circuit board, pretty easy, just wood planks and sticky resin. We've got a number of wood planks already. The recipe to make 1 is the same as the recipe to make 3. I'll just make 3. It's starting to get a little loud over here. Resistors, we're going to need carbon dust or coal dust, some paper, copper wire. So I don't have paper, coal dust, or copper wire yet automated, but paper is easy enough. It's just some sugar cane, coal dust. We can take our mortar that we made with coal to make that. And copper wire, we can make copper plates and wire cut those. So I'm going to keep the recipes that I will replace up here near the top, but the ones that I won't really, I'll go ahead and place in my regular assemblers, like paper. With that, we should be able to make the resistor. Resin printed circuit boards we can also make now. And vacuum tubes. Vacuum tubes, we need steel. That is a saw and a rod. And a rod is a file and an ingot. So there are some resistors. Oh, that's right. It needs glass tubes. Just craft it and put it in my inventory, because I know it's a quest. It needs to be in your inventory to count, and then craft some more. I'm going for 32 here, because our next quest is going to call for 32 basic electronic circuits. And we can go ahead and make a recipe for it. And we need red alloy cable. That's something not at all covered by the quest book. That's what we need the rubber sheets for. So we need to coat red alloy wire, red alloy wire. We cut red alloy plates. Plates, we hammer ingots. Ingots, we can try and find out dust, but I know this is alloy smelting, copper, and redstone together. And it can be in the ingot form. see there's already quite a lot of crafting that happens in your inventory that eventually will get taken over by machines. Let's grab some copper ingots and some redstone. It's 4 redstone to 1 copper. And maybe I should make another alloy smelter. Why not? Now we're using 16, which is more steam than this guy can produce, which is not good. So actually I'm going to pause this one. That way my other machines can keep running. Let's make one more alloy smelter. Put it on here. And we're going to grab the raw rubber pulp. We're going to put our sulfur and pulp together. Put the rest of our slime balls in here. We're going to need a lot of rubber early on. Wood planks are still coming along. As well as glass tubes. Alright, I'll see you in a sec when this is all done crafting up, and when the glass is done, I'll start up this one. I'll see you shortly. Alright, I'm bringing you back. I'm starting to regret not automating this. But, a couple updates here. I decided to use a little item hopper filled with redstone and copper, because it's 1 copper to 4 redstone for 1 red alloy ingot. And a hopper can auto-input the redstone for me. I switched from slime balls to sticky resin. These guys give you 3 raw rubber pulp instead of 2 like slime balls, and they take the same amount of time. And I'm just item piping the output over here, which is fine. The raw rubber pulp is going in 3 at a time to make 1 rubber ingot, and the sulfur dust I'm still running over to mechanism to steel as those pipes are continuing to fill. But you can see I've been here. If 1 coal burns every 480 seconds, and I've been here for 9 coal to have been burnt. This is taking quite a while. Maybe I should have automated it. So as you can see, if I try and order some circuits, 32 to be precise, for the quest, I'm missing rubber sheet still. So, I'll be back again when this is a little further along. Alright, I think we've gotten enough rubber, enough of this red alloy. I'm going to keep making it for now, just to have some extra. But, let's go ahead and craft our 32 electronic circuits. I love applied energistics. I love auto crafting. Just seeing it go off and craft as fast as it possibly can. Very satisfying. And with that, we have... I always forget how loud that is. We've completed Steam Age. We get some extra circuits that'll come in handy, and some LV machine hulls, and tin cable. And more tin cable and copper wire. That's quite nice. Alright. Well, low voltage we will tackle next time. If you've been sticking through to the end, thank you. Any questions, comments, put them down below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks for watching.